You know, Lego, right? It's one of the most powerful, most loved brands in the entire world. But this story, it's not about that success. It's actually about how that success almost completely destroyed the company.
I mean, it's pretty hard to believe now, but if you go back to the early 2000s, Lego was literally on the brink of bankruptcy. We're talking losing millions of dollars every single day. And yet, you look at them today, and they are an absolute global powerhouse, more profitable, more dominant than they've ever been. It's one of the most incredible comebacks you'll ever see. So, what on earth changed? How did they manage to pull themselves back from the absolute edge like that? Well, it all comes down to one single powerful concept: competitive advantage. They had lost it, and then they found it again. And that's the key to this whole story. All right, so let's break this down. What is competitive advantage really? A lot of people just think it means, being better than your competitors. But that's not quite it. At its core, it's about this. It's your ability to make more profit from a potential sale than your competitors can. It's not some abstract idea of being better. It's about profitability. It's about money. And here's the thing. It's not just about growing your company. It's not just about surviving. It's about winning, building a business that can consistently beat the competition. Okay, so how is this advantage actually won? Well, it really boils down to a pretty simple idea. It's all about the gap between what your customers are willing to pay for something and what it actually costs you to make it. The bigger that gap, the better. And there are really only two ways to make that gap bigger. First, you can be different. This is about creating something that people value more so they're willing to pay a premium for it. Or second, you can be efficient. This means you deliver the same value as your competitors, but you just do it at a lower cost. So which path do you think Lego took? I mean, they've never been the cheap option, right? From the very start, they won by being different. And the way they did it is fascinating. It wasn't just one thing. It was this whole system working together. They had a super strong global brand, a building system that was totally unique, and this obsessive focus on quality. That idea that every single piece has to fit perfectly. Get this, the molding tolerance for a single Lego brick is just 0.002 millimeters. That tiny detail is what gives it that perfect clutch. It's a quality you can literally feel, and it's something their competitors just couldn't replicate. Now that is an advantage people will pay for. Okay, but this is where the story gets really interesting. If they were so good, if they have this amazing advantage, how did they almost lose everything? Well, they lost their way. In a desperate search for growth, they just started branching out into everything. I'm talking video games, theme parks. They even had a clothing line, wristwatches, you name it. They were trying to be everywhere. And all of this created a monster of a problem on the inside: complexity. I mean, the number of unique Lego components they had to make more than doubled. Think about that. Every new mold could cost up to 300,000 euros. Their costs were just exploding. So here's the brutal result. Costs are going through the roof. But were people willing to pay a huge premium for a Lego-branded t-shirt? Not really. So that gap we talked about, it started shrinking. And then it completely flipped. Profits just collapsed. They started losing hundreds of millions of dollars. And this right here, this is probably the most important lesson in this whole story. It's a trap that so many companies fall into, and it's exactly what happened to Lego. See, from their perspective, they were adding all this value, right? New products, new experiences. But the problem was their costs were growing even faster than the price people would pay. So for every dollar of value they thought they were creating, it was actually costing them, say, $1.20 to deliver. And this is the big aha moment. You can create value and still destroy your business. If your costs grow faster than the price you can charge, you don't have an advantage anymore. You have a huge problem. So, how did they turn it around? Well, they had to learn a really tough lesson. That strategy, it's not just about deciding what to do. Real strategy is about trade-offs. It's about saying no. Of course, you have to choose what to do, but maybe, just maybe, it's even more important to choose what not to do. The famous strategist Michael Porter nailed it. He said, "The essence of strategy is choosing what not to do." And that's exactly how Lego started their comeback. They stopped trying to be everything, and they went back to the thing that made them great in the first place, the brick. So, the big takeaway from Lego's story is this. Competitive advantage isn't about doing more things. It's about doing the right things over and over again. It's about focus. It's about discipline. And that's a lesson that goes way beyond just plastic bricks.